Здравствуйте, дамы и господа.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming and joining us here today. It's a great pleasure. Well, for me, it was a little puzzle considering those who attend academic conference, and especially pleasant that we're holding the fourth conference at the Garage Museum. So for the first time, we're sitting in our new building created by Igor Vinogradsky, the architect, built back in 1968, early called Seasons of the Year. Well, and well, starting with fall. Why? Because you see the mosaics, the murals, and three more buildings for other three seasons were also contemplated. Two of them had been built, but then they were run down. So the last one is still sitting strong here, and we hope that this fall of modernism will always be with us. Thanks in part to the global project dedicated to modernism. Well, the program of Garage Museums, so this fall or the autumn will last as long as it takes. Well, I really don't know what else to tell you. Well, here we have lots of speakers. Thank you for their response to invitations, and it's especially important for Russia today, especially in the light of reconstruction and reconstruction of the big new architectural building on the opposite side and the contribution of our Russian architecture to the world context. Well, it's especially important, this slide, and I think that our detailed plans, which my colleague will announce to you now, will also be same interesting. And everything you see around, it's a brilliant work of Roman Kuklis and his Bureau MA for protection, preservation of architectural heritage. You see, well, this very particular respect to the concrete and structures, even to the murals from 68 and to the glazed bricks. So we retained all these very special elements of the buildings, and I think that's one of the reasons why this conference held in this building, and we decided to arrange it specifically in this building. So thank you for your attention. Well, Fowle, the Director General of Garage Gagare, is standing next to me. I think she'll give her a more detailed introduction. So at this, we're starting.
Welcome to all of the guests. It's fantastic to see so many people here. Before I go any further, does everybody have an earpiece for translation if they need it? Because if not, there are earpieces over there. Some of the conference will be, the papers will be given in English and some will be given in Russian. So I want to reiterate what Anton said and say thank you to all the speakers who have gathered here. There's 19 speakers who have come from all over the place to be with us today. And it's really, really important that you agreed to take the time out of your busy schedules to come and be with us, because this conference is actually extremely important for Garage. And one of the main reasons why is that we are embarking on a 3-year research project. And this conference will set the questions and the parameters and the arguments that we want to play out in the next couple of years. And we'll be doing that through our education programs, but also through developing a book and an exhibition around issues of Soviet modernism from the perspective of today. And the reason why that's important is first for us at Garage, because our new home is this building wherein Rem Koolhaas has decided to preserve aspects of the Soviet modernist past that was the restaurant. But we're also a very contemporary and forward-thinking museum. So the question is, what is important in terms of thinking through issues from the past, architecturally, but also culturally? What is it that we want to stop the process of erosion happening to? And what is it that we want to actually kind of let go of so that we can move forward and think differently about Soviet modernism? So, as I say, the speakers today will set the parameters or the foundation through which we start to ask those questions. We're also wanting very much to consider Garage and this building in the context of Moscow, and then in the context of the former Soviet republics, and to kind of understand what issues there are, again, that pertain to history that we can take forward with us into the future and which need to just be kind of left to rest at this stage. So we have a busy 2 days. There are 3 sessions each day. In each session, there are 2 to 3 speakers. Each will be giving a 20-minute presentation, of which 15 minutes they will be speaking, and then 5 minutes at the end will be an opportunity for you to ask questions. There'll also be a few discussions or presentations from architects or from other practitioners that are trying to kind of turn more into a conversation than a paper. And then at the end of each day, there's an event. And these events are more cultural in flavour than thinking through architecture. And it's trying to kind of butt up different ways of thinking about Soviet modernism, not from an architectural perspective, but what influence it can have. So before I hand over to Katia Inozemtsova, who is one of the co-organizers of this conference with Nastya Matishina, both from Garage, I want to say a big thank you to Georg Scholhammer, who's our international advisor on this research project. And unfortunately, he has been taken sick, so he's on his way here, but he won't be with us until tomorrow. I want to also say a big thank you to our research curator, Ruben Arevshayatan, who will be taking Georg's place today in introducing the second session. And I also want to say thank you to our academic partner, which is the Institute of Modernism, which is Anna Bonovetskaya and Olga Kazakova, because they have been also foundational in discussing what this conference should be. So now I will hand over to Katia, who will explain more the details of what this conference begins as.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Anton.
With your permission, I'll be speaking in Russian. First of all, I'm utterly happy to meet and greet you here today at the Garage at this very unusual time. And we're very happy to see not just experts, not our colleagues, but, as I want to believe, the people who just came to Garage to attend this great academic event. And welcoming here at the Garage Museum at the 4th conference, Long and Happy Life, I want to say the following thing. The very name of this conference is already giving certain paradigm direction to the life cycle of the Soviet modernist architecture. And today, I think we have a unique opportunity for a free and open discussion talking about its achievements, its functioning, and capability for adopting to changes, certain plasticity and flexibility, and realization and the place of its achievements in today's cultural context. Well, the very fact of us being today in what used to be a restaurant season of the year, which, thanks to Dutch Bureau Agency and M&A, was turned to the Museum of Modern Art, well, manifests not only the agility and capacity, well, shows the individual and visual, sensitivity concerning Soviet modernism. Well, presentations of leading experts in this area, and we should say that we had invited not only theoreticians but also culturalists and sociologists and practicing architects, exist in a very broad range, from description of general problematics of the analysis of context of the Soviet architecture and urban practice after 1956 concerning under the government decree on elimination of excesses in urban development, and even architectural and objects which still show very interesting peculiarities and absolutely phenomenal individual manifestations in what seemed to be a totalitarian and regulated system. And the main nerve of the conference goes along the axis which I would outline as the norm of freedom well, general and particular, central and local, general plan and reality, planned and lived through, planning, organization, and individual architect. And that's probably is the content of the Soviet architectural modernism. Moreover, its capability for expansive movement, for expansion and spreading far beyond the frontiers of the Soviet Union, and also the ability of engaging in its matter, the achievements of international modernism. So all these aspects make the experience of Soviet architectural modernism exclusively diverse, internally mobile. I would say that under strong pressure of very repressive regulating system, we see internal, very dynamic life, which will be focusing our attention during our conference about its different forms of its presence in an over-regulated reality. Well, thanks to this conference, we're expecting not only around the range of academic problems, but also to find a proper tonality for a serious publication and upcoming exhibition, which will enable us to sum up the experience of architectural modernism. And we sincerely hope that all the participants of the conference will become our friends and partners, and that with your help we'll be able to fulfill our most ambitious plans. Well, greeting them all once again, and thank you for being here today with us. And basically, we're getting down to the main action, to the main event, and we are starting our conference, which will be opened with the first session, and I'm inviting, naturally, that's going to be you, our partner from the Institute of Modernism, thanks to very thriving participation and contribution of which we were able to complete and implement whatever we contemplated. Okay, it's your time. Thank you very much, guys. I'm also very happy to welcome all the participants and guests of the conference. I'm grateful for you to be here. And naturally, I want to express thanks to Garage, its wonderful team, for their hospitality and giving this space and place for us. And so we are beginning our scientific work of Master Commission, Norm, and Freedom in the Late Soviet Architecture, Master and Commission. So I think that architectural modernism can be just, presented as a kind of, tug of war, but we shouldn't just demonize and dramatize like, the force powers of evil, those standing for the norms, because definitely they have also keep in mind, tackling some social issues, so we don't have to fall into the extreme in our assessments. And I think the architect didn't have a very live situation, because under such harsh and strict norming, well, it was really hard life for them. I remember the story of Michael Pasokhin, being, chief architect of Moscow. He wanted to make his project in a much more refined way, and he came to head of the Moscow Council Promislov with this problem. He said just sign procurement for, unstandard materials, and Pasokhin was scared to do that. And of course, when architects applied to the government for permitting them to use of some unregulated, non-standard material, and they were told, architects, composers use 7 keys to write a symphony, so please use the kit which you have. So basically, they had to do what they had accessible. Sometimes, in the rare cases, there were some non-standard solutions, and as a result, still, we have some unique, wonderful samples of Soviet architecture, which will be in the focus of our attention today. So this session will consist of 4 presentations. Anna Brodovitskaya will be the first speaker, who will give us what we'll be looking for quite a long time. She'll just make the same, landmarks and chronology and development of Soviet architecture. And although it's just the first conference, and we still need a lot further, deeper research in this field. Anna Boroditsa, assistant professor at Moscow Architecture Institute and director of Institute of Modernism. Then she'll be followed by Richard Anderson, a lecturer from Edinburgh University and author of a book on Soviet architecture, who will tell us about the ratio and relations between typical and the singular, and the dynamics and changes during the era of Soviet modernism. And then for more general issues, we'll get more particular questions, and there we'll have Nikolai Yerofeyev, a researcher from Institute of Art Modernism, who did the research on Igor Vinogradsky, the architect. So this research was done on commission for Garage, and he really managed to track down some unique materials which never were publicized before, and basically were shelved far away, never seeing daylight, and so that makes them even more valuable. And the last presentation will be done by Yuri Vakumov, the architect, artist, and curator, who will tell us about the victory of young Soviet architects in the international contest, and like rare cases when flowers can, break through the asphalt. So I'm just strongly requesting all the speakers to stick to the timing, 15 minutes for presentation, 5 minutes for questions. Thank you.